Thanks for the support as a channel member, Ollie Collins. Well, I think we called yesterday an unspectacular but probably quite efficient transfer window. I'm pretty happy with the squad. Obviously, the window is still open, and we've got the European Super Cup to play against Champions League winners Chelsea. So we're going to learn a lot over the next 20 minutes or so. Hello and welcome to part 80 of the Tour de France. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have a hugely important league game on the first day of the new season against Leyton Orient, who are expected to, or media predicted to finish third in the final Champions League qualification spot ahead of us. So we kind of need to beat them to show that we're better than they are and all that. And if that wasn't enough, we also play Chelsea in the European Super Cup just a few days later. We're going to learn a lot about how our season is likely to turn out in this episode. I think if you didn't see the transfer special yesterday, you should go and check it out. The big headlines being we didn't get Millet back on loan again. He is now officially at Brentford. We did sign Milinkovic, Magothu and Nguema permanently, and then brought in some new loans to try and get the next generation of young superstar in Samir Costa, who will be joining us permanently, actually. He's a young holding midfielder to replace the departing club captain, Thomas, who went to Verona for 5 million to fund this. And then some more fringe players, Bamba, Kuric and Pierre, who might turn out great, maybe not. Bamba's cost us £4 million just a loan, which I know some of you are going to think is absolutely insane. But ultimately, we couldn't find a striker to buy of that level for £4 million. So we had to make do with what we could get. And £4 million on a loan is better than no £1 million on no player and not having that extra striker in the squad that we needed. So the restrictions we've got do sometimes make some of the decisions look odd when we're struggling for money. But remember, context, boys and girls, there was not a better option than Bamba to come in as a striker that we needed for the season. It's the reason we've kept Di Girolamo as well, because there is no one out there to replace him with. So as much as in any other save, we'd sell him for £10 million and go and buy a Brazilian 18-year-old for $3 million and everyone's laughing. It's not an option in this save. So we do have to make slightly different decisions. So with all that in mind, this is the team for the game against Lorient. Milinkovic is the big injury worry. He's going to miss the first month or so of the season with a lower back stress fracture. And also the youngster Manktalo isn't fully fit to be on the bench to cover on that right-hand side. But we have got everyone else available. And huge pressure on Omar this season. After being our main man up front for a couple of years, he was rotated a bit last year, still scored nearly as many goals as he usually does in nearly as many games. So clearly the rotation just prevented him getting the injury he normally gets to miss a few games in a normal season. We'd really like him to go back to that form from 4 years ago when he was first here and scoring goals for fun, as he is now really our only decent striker until maybe Bamba emerges or something else. Who knows, whatever that might be. So Magothu in goal for his first game as a permanent tour player. Magothu in goal. And back for Simon Say, Capital and Frey. New boy Costa at the base of the midfield in the absence of Milinkovic. Fowry and Del Palacio Langer together in midfield. Fowry still at the club despite interest from Newcastle, who new club captain Ulrich Nguema has just re-signed for us permanently from. Nguema really needs to have a word with Fowry and explain why going to Newcastle probably isn't worth it. Yeah, he'll earn a few quid, but he could earn that here, as Nguema himself demonstrates, and he's now club captain. So Fowry could stick around and be another Nguema for us. And then it is Nguema, Benavides and Afkir Omar up front. Slightly less quality from the bench, at least initially, until we get to know the new boys. But with 5 subs, we'll get to know the new boys really rather quickly, I imagine. And one of two things needs to happen. Either Di Girolamo needs to do this season what Benavides did last season, and having been at the club a few years, needs to just emerge into an opportunity presented itself by a player leaving the club. It's what Benavides did. Who knows? Di Girolamo might as well, or Bamba needs to be awesome. We just need somebody. We need an option from the bench that will deliver some goals, because otherwise it could be a long old season. If the only players scoring goals are Omar and Benavides, they're both on from the start, and obviously there's the risk that one or both could get injuries. So we need Millet's goals being replaced somewhere, and we also need our opponents not to nearly score right at the start of the game. We got the league table on there. Remember, Lorient are the other team trying to be part of this big three breakaway group at the top of the league with the 3 European qualification spots. And I think we've won a penalty here. Corner comes in. We're always a threat from the corners because Capital still 6'7", despite being another year older. He hasn't shrunk with it, which is very handy. And we have won a penalty, and it is our new club captain, Ulrich Nguema, stepping up to take the penalty. Go on, do a football. Of course he's done a football. We love him. He loves us. Ulrich Nguema is back at Tour, and he's back forever now. We're never going to let him go again. And he's going to go on. He'll play 500 or 600 games for us. He's been a regular in our starting 11s. He was 16 years old. He's now our captain. He doesn't get enough hero worship down in the comments section. It's time the hero worship began. He is our boy. He's one of our own. And look at it. Look at him go. What a clever little sausage. Interestingly as well, he's still shown as French on here, but does have an international cap for Gabon. I'm not really sure how that works. I don't know when that happened because it doesn't show him. It doesn't mention a debut on his biography. It doesn't have a debut mentioned anywhere on here. So presumably he played a game for them at some point and I didn't notice when it happened. But then he's declared for France, despite the fact he's not been called up into the French squad ever. So I don't really know what's gone on there, whether he'll go back to being Gabonese again or what. And this is exactly what we feared. Benavides straight off with a red injury. It's a foot injury. He's probably broken his foot. Out till Christmas. This could be an absolute disaster for us. Bamba comes on. This is much earlier than we'd hoped for him to make his debut. Let's hope he's as good as that £4 million loan suggests he could be. If he is great, he's another one like Del Palacio Langer, who's going to cost us a gazillion pounds to bring him permanently. I think it's £26 million to bring him in permanently during his loan, which is an awful lot of money for someone we've already spent £4 million on. But if he comes on and helps us win this game today, then he's already starting to pay towards that £4 million loan. Here is Bamba on the left-hand side. Crosses it in, looking for Omar. It's a poor cross, and it's all the way back with Frey, who plays it across to Capital. Weirdly, this highlight is still continuing. I'm just checking that we're not on extended highlights. We're not. It's just a weird highlight, so I just wanted to make sure we hadn't accidentally slipped onto extended again. Bamba does well to beat his man, and he's done well to win the ball back as well there. This is some nice little close control from Bamba. Plays the ball over the top for Fowry. It's back for Del Palacio Langer, and it's our second goal of the game, and it's Martin Del Palacio Langer. I've got something in my eye, which is not ideal. I'm just going to sit here rubbing my eye in the hope that it stops irritating me whilst commentating on a goal going in. It's good. It's really good work from Bamba. That is promising. I don't know if he's a striker, but maybe he's a winger. I mean, if he's a winger, he is in the way of Manctolo, but then I guess we could do with Benavides what we did with Millet previously and kind of shift him over to play centre forward. Assuming he's going to be fit again before Christmas, we can shift him over to play centre forward. What is wrong with my eye? And Bamba and Manctolo could fight for this left-hand side, which, I mean, it's fine. We're on a small squad. I don't think we need to worry about young players getting lost in the mix when we've got such a small squad of players and so many games to play. Everyone in this first team squad, as we saw last year, everyone in the first team squad will get plenty of opportunity to play plenty of football matches. We just don't have enough players for anybody to slip through the cracks once they make it into this first team squad. Simon with the throw. Bamba plays it back to Langer. That's a lovely cross for Nguema. And he had the opportunity to grab his second of the game. Unfortunately, his header goes just wide. But we remain 2-0 up, and we are looking pretty comfortable at the moment after getting absolutely spanked in the Trophée des Champions against Paris Saint Germain, demonstrating just how much better than us they are. I hope this is going to be a demonstration today of how much better we are than this lot. Although, as I'm saying that, they've grabbed a goal back, although the referee has got his finger in his ear. So fingers crossed it's going to be a disallowed goal back, and we can go back to our 2-goal lead, which we were enjoying really rather a lot. Referee, not on our side today, has awarded the goal. And maybe my victory speech was started a little bit early. Is that the Gavi playing for them? There's a lot of aging football manager wonder kids who are starting to appear in this French league now. Right. Frey is going to have to come off because he's a tired old man, so Gonzalez can come on for him. Capital still struggling to make it through football matches, so Bertrand can come on for him. We've got a lot of tired legs on this pitch today. Goodness me, we're going to make all our substitutions now. Robin is going to come. Sorry, Christopher Robin is going to come on for Del Palacio Langer, and we'll bring Di Girolamo on for Nguema. We're shifting everything around, getting some energy back into this team, and hopefully we are able to cling on to our current narrow lead. It's Bertrand who has signed a new long-term contract with us in the summer, new 5-year deal on mega money. We've been quite fortuitous there that the ball has ended up with Omar, and now Christopher Robin. Of course, the last time we saw Christopher Robin in action, he was scoring the winning goal in the Europa League final and becoming a hero. Afkir Omar is in, and we really could have done with him applying the finish there just to rubber stamp this opening day victory, because the last thing we want, after only 2 shots on target in the entire match for Lorient, the last thing we want is for them to sneak a point off of us in a game that could end up being absolutely crucial come the end of the season when we see who's in these 3 Champions League qualification spots. But we are able to hold on, and now we're going to have to go and take our medicine against Chelsea. We've been battered by Paris Saint Germain. I expect another battering is coming at the hands of Champions League holders Chelsea, but you never know. Oh God, what's wrong with Benavides? Only 2 or 3 weeks. That is much better than it could have been. Well, here's a treat for you in the European Super Cup. Travis Manctalo is going to be playing. He's going to be starting. Big season for him this season. 19 years old now. I mean, Benavides is injured. He has possession of that shirt for the time being. Talking of our young, exciting wingers, we just turned down a £5 million bid from Aston Villa for Tayo Doucouré as well, our young right winger. So we've got some decent young players coming through again, which is very exciting. But this is one more of our homegrown boys in the team for a European match. Obviously, Fowry, Manctalo and Nguema. I don't think Omar's cast as homegrown at club. I think he was 19 when we signed him. But with, what about Magothu? How old was he? Probably also, no. That's 3 starting, which is just super duper. Plenty more throughout the squad as well. It's the one save in the history of all the saves I've played, the one save where we're certainly never going to have a problem when it comes to Champions League squad registration and all that stuff, because we've got so many of these homegrown players. Oh my word, look at Chelsea's team. They've got Makoko, Sesko and Bellingham. We talk about Paris Saint Germain being just an FM22 Wonder Kids list. This is absurd. This is what we're up against. I need to fast forward this save 5 years and get all this lot out of the way. Let's see how good everybody is with a bunch of new gens in their team. That's my time to thrive. Oh, they've got Fofana as well. Still got Reece James at the back. Vardiol. My word, look at the state of that team. If we're even remotely competitive in this, then sensational stuff. I don't even know where this is being played, actually. I didn't normally say the name of the ground somewhere on the match screen. I didn't even notice what country it's being played in. But yeah, we're going to get battered today, aren't we? If anything, this Chelsea team, even better than the Paris Saint Germain team that we come up against 3 or 4 times a season, which I suppose they should be better than PSG. They have just won the Champions League. And apparently this is the key to success in Football Manager. Just sign all of the best young players. Who knew? But the important thing is they're another example of a club who just aren't building for the future like Paris Saint Germain. They're just a team full of old men. We're ready with the next generation of players, he says, while Frey's got the ball at 31 years old. Ugh. And of course, we've got Bamba, who's just coming on loan from Chelsea. So we know they've got good young players as well. But we're going to pretend they don't exist and just keep stealing them. And, oh, look at Makoko. Oh. The problem is they're not even old enough to be thinking in terms of them retiring yet either. I imagine Makoko's like 31 years old in this save. So he's going to be scoring goals for them for the next 5 or 6 years. If we win the Champions League before Youssoufa Makoko retires, I think that might be one of my greatest ever achievements in Football Manager. Because we talk about trying to get past Paris Saint Germain. How do you get past this with this? We had no money to spend there. We had a budget of £5 million this summer, and we're trying to compete against that football team. Absolutely ridiculous. And we are competing. That's the thing. Look, I mean, it's 1-0. Yes, we're not really generating anything. Poor old Travis Manctalo. This is not the game for him to be making a first full start in a competitive game. Fowry has just missed an absolute sitter. You're not going to Chelsea anytime soon with that kind of miss. My goodness me. Bamba needs to get out there and get warming up. See if he wants to grab himself a goal against his parent club. And Nguema's shattered as well. Frey's tired. Everybody's tired. Sesko's in now. And Kevin Simon doing his very best to put that into his own net. But luckily, it was on his weak foot, so he missed. And it's gone behind for a corner. But it's Chelsea to take. Makoko whips it into that far post. And the Chelsea attack just continues. It is absolutely relentless. We'll offer a little bit of encouragement. It's more in terms of solidarity than expecting to get anything out of the game. We're only allowed to make 3 substitutions as well, aren't we? Manslow is recovering from an injury, so Bamba can come on for him. That's relatively easy to do. Frey is an old man, so that's relatively easy to do. And then I guess we're looking at the bench, deciding who else we want to give. I mean, I guess Christopher Robin, more than anyone, deserves to play in this match because it's his goal that got us here. So Christopher Robin can come on to play in midfield. What a way to decide what substitutions to make. But all eyes on Bamba. He might want to send a message to Chelsea here about what they've got knocking around in their reserves that they're not using at all. And we've just absolutely clattered Sesko. Who is that who's come across and done that? Is that Capital? Stop running! Let me click on you! It's Say, who's just absolutely clattered into him. I mean, it is a penalty. They're always a penalty. I've never seen a penalty appeal go to VAR in FM and not result in a penalty. Magothu could make himself a household name across Europe. I mean, he's not going to. But, you know, a penalty save here would be excellent. And he has saved the penalty and the rebound. Lovely stuff from Magothu. He is one of the bargains of this save. Right up there with Omar and Millet. All 3 of them. It was a combined, I think, £13 million for those 3 players. And they'll make us 250 million when they all leave or win us the Champions League. I mean, obviously, Millet's already gone. But Omar and Magothu, they're going to be £100 million players, surely. Magothu is going to be an absolute world superstar. He is a 22-year-old goalkeeper who's been the best player in our team in a big game against that attack. What a man he is. We have been pathetic apart from him, but let's not get bogged down in those kind of details. It's fine. We don't need to worry. We've kept it tight against Chelsea, which should mean it won't affect our confidence too much after what was a very important win in the league on the first day of the season. Right, we don't want to see them lift the trophy. No one wants to see them lift the trophy. Did we get money for that? We did get some money. Can we spend some of it, please? Please let us spend some money. Look at that performance by Magothu. Please give me some more money, board. Please. I'm going to ask for both because we're very short of players. If you want us to be competitive in the Champions League, you've got to give me some more money. I guess it depends on whether or not you want us to be competitive in the Champions League. So fingers crossed they do. We're just going to rest the players before the weekend. Obviously, the next game I want to play off camera, so I can probably wrap the episode up. I think what we'll do from here, get through the rest of this transfer window, hopefully with some more money now, and then tomorrow come back for one of our early Champions League group games. Deal? Deal. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.